there are many, many different kind of people here from different parts of Louisiana, and you are beginning to see the benefits of regional cooperation. You know, one of the things that I like to talk about a lot is to think regionally so that you can compete globally. And everything that we do should reflect that. You'll remember that just last year, a group of CVBs got together in North Louisiana. They didn't wait for me. They basically said, what can we do together? And we created, you know, Coalition North. And they basically got together and came up with great ideas about how you could, what I call facilitate, get to know each other, link, kind of hook together everything that you had, and then leverage your assets and create something really wonderful out of what already existed. I like to talk a lot about the fact that diversity is a strength, it's not a weakness. And what that means is instead of running away from each other, run towards each other. It gets to be a lot richer, and it gets to be a lot more vibrant when you have all of the colors of the rainbow, all the different kinds of people, all the different kinds of culture, all the different kinds of languages, and instead of it all blending into one and becoming, look exactly the same, the richness of everything that each part brings creates something much stronger and much more valuable. In the state of Louisiana, we have a tremendous amount of diversity, not only in the African American community, but in the Cajun community. All across Louisiana, we have indigenous cultures that cannot be recreated anyplace else in the world. And that notion that diversity is a strength, not a weakness, is a very important one, that if people follow through can create all kinds of wonderful things. Something like an African American Heritage Trail can come created out of that very idea. Thinking regionally so you can compete globally is the idea out of which comes a lot of parishes coming together and accumulating their assets and making sure that what already exists gets tied together. Setting high standards, not just trying to beat the Southern average, but trying to beat the national average is really critically important. And then finally, another principle that I talk about is you take all of the raw material, all of the raw assets, all of the intellectual capital, and then you grow it and you add value to it. That is another reason why you get something like the African American Heritage Trail. So what is it here that we're here to talk about today? We're not creating anything new. We're not building a new museum. We're not spending $500, $600 million in new capital constructions. What have we done? We just asked a really simple question. Do we have strong cultural heritage that's reflective of the African American community? And the answer was yes. And then somebody said, well, show me. And so, of course, we got preservationists and we got historians. And we then began to move around Louisiana. We knew that Louisiana was the #2 tourist destination for African Americans. We knew that. And you know, tourism is one of my jobs. So I wanted to bring more tourists here. I wanted to find partners, the Convention and Visitors Bureaus. But we also want to do something else. We want to grow jobs out of culture. That initiative is called the Cultural Economy Initiative. And what is that? That is to find people who are here already that have special talents and find a way for them to work on the back of the house side of culture. How many jobs are involved in culture? 144,000 in the state of Louisiana. Tourism, 129,000. Two huge, not only wonderful things for people to enjoy, but great things for people to work in. What happens when you create jobs? You create financial wealth for the person that's working in the job. You create tax revenue, Mr. Mayor, for cities. That revenue then goes back in and it begins to circulate. And what happens? You create a great place for people to live, to work, and to play. And so when you couple together things like the cultural economy and tourism, what you get is the African American Heritage Trail. And so we have been able to identify 26 very significant historical sites, and they're all listed on this board. And what's interesting is it's all over the state. This is an initiative that's going to bring North and South, East and West together. And again, telling the story that has already been written, we're just telling it again. And we're tying it together, and we're making it visible. Actually, we're taking the raw material, the raw talent, and intellectual capital that already exists, and we're adding value to it by creating a trail. And obviously, you can see immediately the relationship between tourism and culture. Why? Because all of our studies that we do show that people like to come to a place that is authentic. Disney World's a wonderful thing. They do that thing. But they don't have the same kind of food at Disney World that we have here. They don't have the same kind of music that we have here. They don't have the same indigenous cultures that we have here. They don't have all the different accents that we have here. And if we can just realize what our strengths are, and then find a way to add value to them, then you create things, especially when you want to tie them together. And there are things, therefore, that are called the Audubon Golf Trail. You were at Squire Creek today, Audubon Golf Trail. You want to talk about state parks? Right down the street. If you want to talk about state museums, that's fine. If you want to talk about a birding trail, and what's really wonderful is that all of this is so special to North Louisiana. You have as much of it, if not more, than any other part of the state. And so we're giving you the opportunity to show yourselves off and to tell the story that has already been written. 26 sites. But the good part is this is just the first round. That there are going to be another round of them. Places that are historically significant, the applications processes that you can use. And the consequence of this is going to be that when individuals come to the state of Louisiana to visit, or people who want to move around the state of Louisiana, they will know that instead of staying 1 day in Louisiana, they can stay 3. And every tourist professional in here can tell you the significance of that. So if normally somebody comes to Louisiana and they spend $30, and they spend 3 days and they spend $90, you did 3 times better. Obviously, the numbers are much bigger than that. And so the potential for this is huge. But what I'm so excited about is this gives us the opportunity to tell again to the nation and to the rest of the world the great things that Louisiana already has. It gives us an opportunity to introduce ourselves to each other and to all be part of a much larger mission. And that's why this particular mention today, it's so significant because it accumulates all of those different principles that I talked about. We have sitting in the audience the great Willis Reed, a good friend of mine. Willis, give him a hand if you don't mind. A young Louisiana boy who made it big in the NBA and came home. And the significance of his life was on display last week in New Orleans as the National Basketball Association did their All-Star game here. And the entire world, 200 countries, they had reporters from all over got to see indigenous Louisiana music and Louisiana culture. Now, of course, we already know the answer. They have never had a better one any place else at any time. That's a fact. Willis, is that right? And so we didn't just stop there. See, this is the new Louisiana way. We didn't just say, bring the NBA game here, let them come and stay, you know, and have a good time and let them go on their way. Our team, Judy Reese-Morse, my chief of staff, Eddie, all of these folks said, well, you know what, if they're going to be here, why don't we do some service projects? They didn't just do a service project, they brought 2,500 volunteers from across the country to the state of Louisiana and didn't just do one Habitat for Humanity build. They did 40 different service projects. And the whole issue of service in Louisiana is catching fire. We are the service capital of the world right now. But that wasn't enough. Willis wanted to do more. So I asked Willis, and I asked Carl Malone, and I asked Chris Paul if they wouldn't mind giving us their face and their voice and their talent, and they have agreed to be part of our new marketing program that's going to get transmitted all across the country and all across the world. And Willis, I want to thank you again for your great work. So today's an exciting day. It's another great thing for North Louisiana. It's another great product for the tourism industry. It's another great asset for the elected leaders that you can then use to grow and to build. But again, everything that we do is just the beginning. It's a manifestation of a principle. It's just the beginning. And the way this is supposed to work is that it is now your responsibility to make it grow and to get better and to make it richer. It's not our job to tie it together for you. We presented it. We're going to help you with it. We're going to work together with you all the time. But the richness of this product comes from open lines of communication, facilitating, linking, and leveraging your assets that turns into a great product that makes Louisiana a better place for all of us to live. That's the big picture. This is the first step along the way, and I'm looking forward to continue to work with you all. God bless you. Thank
you. To the Lieutenant Governor, to the mayors, to all the state officials, all persons that are represented here today. We are very excited about the project, the kickoff, especially to you, Lieutenant Governor, and your staff. This is a great honor. It's a part that we all know that has been past due, but the timing has been great, and it kicks off today. I'm really excited because in Grambling, we hope that, well, no hope, we will start up the Eddie Robinson Museum. Thank God to Lieutenant Governor, other state officials, the senator, and they played a major role for us. And the museum will start up construction and renovation sometime the last of April or the 1st of May. We are very pleased that the Eddie G. Robinson Museum, once it's completed, will be a part of the trail. Coach Robinson would be very honored to be on a part of the African American Heritage Trail because it highlights so many African Americans have contributed to Louisiana, the rich culture that it does. We are in support of this project because it would add so much tourist educational values to those who have the opportunity to experience these trails. We certainly want to thank the Lieutenant Governor again and his staff for showcasing a part of Louisiana wonderful history. And Coach Robinson, I could just see him standing today, and he said, you know, the first to cry would be a sissy. And I guess he would start crying at that time. So we're at Grambling State University, state of Louisiana, and for the world and the nation. We have many, many requests already been made wanting to know when the opening date for the Eddie Robinson Museum. Thank you, and we feel great to be a part of it. Thank you very much.